is up, you guys? Ethan, the My Team GM here, back with an NBA video, you guys. If y'all are hyped, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, and turn on that notification bell so you never miss a video, you guys. So basically, I decided with the NBA coming back and all that stuff, I actually wanted to make a video about my predictions of how the bubble is going to go, how the teams are going to play, and why I feel that way. So basically, we're only going to be talking about the teams that I feel like are playoff contenders, teams that could potentially make the playoffs based on my predictions. I went game by game for every game in the bubble, and I went ahead and gave my predictions on what I think each team's bubble record will be and what their overall record will be and how they will do in the playoffs based on the seeding I give them, you guys. So let's get into it, man. Alright, you guys, so we're going to start off with the Eastern Conference, man, because I honestly feel like it's a lot less competitive than the Western Conference. At the 8th seed in the playoffs, I'm going to go with the Brooklyn Nets. I have them going 0-8 in the bubble and finishing the regular season with a 30-42 record. The reason why I have the Brooklyn Nets playing so bad in the bubble is because they are lacking a lot of talent that they normally have. They're going to be missing Kyrie Irving, DeAndre Jordan, and Kevin Durant. It's going to be very rough for them. The only real talent they have on the team currently is going to be Caris LeVert and Jarrett Allen. Caris LeVert is a very solid player. We have seen signs of life from him this season, but honestly, I don't know if it's going to be enough for them to be able to play well in the bubble. And even though Jarrett Allen is a great defensive player, neither of them really have any help on the offensive end, with their starting point guard, I'm assuming, being Chris Chioza. For the long term, 5'11", very undersized. He'll get killed on the defensive end. I just can see the Nets struggling very hard in the bubble. Sorry, you guys, about the sniffles. I just have really bad allergies. Please excuse me. But at the 7th seed, I have the Orlando Magic going 2-6 in the bubble, finishing with a 32-41 regular season record. The reason why I have the Magic finishing the way they are is just I feel like overall their team just doesn't mesh well. They don't really have that many shooters besides Evan Fournier. Their team is kind of unbalanced. I don't really know what they're going for. I mean, sometimes you feel like they're going all in on defense. Sometimes you feel like they're going all in on offense. You never really know what the Orlando Magic are trying to do, and they've been really struggling as a team the past couple of years. They've always been right down the middle. They don't really have that much star power besides Vucevic, and even then, he's not going to be able to compete with the likes of Joel Embiid, Bam Adebayo, all those guys inside in the Eastern Conference. So I feel like the Magic are really going to struggle in the bubble, although they won't be as bad as the Nets. I got them finishing 32-41. At the 6th seed, I have the Indiana Pacers going 2-6 in the bubble, finishing with a 41-32 overall record. The reason why I have this going on, I'm assuming that Victor Oladipo is not going to play. If Victor Oladipo would play, it would be a very different story, but I'm just not going to assume he's going to play because we don't know anything about Oladipo's status as of right now. But when it comes to the Indiana Pacers, although they have good bigs in Domantas Sabonis and Miles Turner, as well as Malcolm Brogdon, I just don't know if it's going to be enough to compete with the heavy hitters in the East, because they're going to be playing a lot of good teams, and the East, at least in the upper echelon of teams, is very well balanced in their both backcourt and front court. So I feel like the Pacers are definitely going to struggle. I feel like they'll be 2-6 in the regular season portion of the bubble and will finish with a 41-32 record. At the 5 seed, I have the Philadelphia 76ers going 6-2 in the bubble, finishing with a 45-28 record. Yes, I know that the 76ers have been struggling lately, but, it's practically a new season with how long they've been out. Ben Simmons is going to be moved to the power forward, which I feel like is a great move by the 76ers. I'm assuming Al Horford's going to be a sixth man off the bench. and then Shake Milton will be starting at point guard. So their lineup is going to be much more well-balanced than it used to be. I feel like it's going to be great to be moving Ben Simmons at that power forward position. He'll be able to facilitate off the ball, so it'll definitely be great for the flow of their offense. It'll definitely move a lot more. And not only that, they'll be quicker both offensively and defensively with Al Horford coming off of the bench, because it's kind of hard to get good spacing and good speed with Joel Embiid and Al Horford on the court together. So that's why I think the 76ers are definitely going to break out in the bubble. I have them going 6-2. At the 4 seed, I have the Miami Heat going 5-3 in the bubble, finishing with a regular season record of 46-27. I definitely feel like the Heat are a very good team, and they're going to be hard to knock out, but I feel like they're definitely, when it comes to at least the bubble standards, a middle-of-the-pack team, because you got to think, in the bubble, everybody is at least somewhat decent, because all these teams have a chance of making the playoffs from the beginning. But the Miami Heat definitely should not be slept on. Really good team with Jimmy Butler, one of the best defenders in the NBA, great offensive player, and Bam Adebayo having an absolute breakout season, being a great player both offensively and defensively, cleaning up the glass for the Miami Heat. Also, Duncan Robinson, a great shooter for them. They just have a great overall team. Do not sleep on the Miami Heat. At the 3 seed, I have the Boston Celtics going 6-2 in the bubble, finishing with a 49-23 regular season record. I think the Celtics are definitely going to be a tough out in the playoffs. They're going to be a great team. Jason Tatum has been having a breakout year, was an absolute baller in the winter and early spring before the pandemic, was going crazy. They were really starting to mesh together with Kyrie gone and Kemba Walker taking the reins at point guard. Definitely a great overall team. They got great defenders in Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown, and they have great offensive weapons in Kemba Walker and Jason Tatum, as well as Gordon Hayward to help out as well. They're going to be a very good team. I would not be surprised if they made a Cinderella run to the NBA Finals, but realistically, I think it'll probably be the Milwaukee Bucks, but I have the Boston Celtics going 6-2 in the bubble. At the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, I have the Toronto Raptors finishing 6-2 in the bubble with a 52-20 overall record. The Toronto Raptors are definitely one of the most underrated teams in the NBA. They are spectacular. I believe they have a better record than they did last year at this point of the year. When they had Kawhi Leonard. Pascal Siakam is playing even better than he did last year. They were meshing very well as a team, which I'm very surprised about. Before the season, I thought they were going to finish at a 5 or 6 seed, but they are definitely a very good team. Pascal Siakam is a player that cannot be slept on. Great offensively and defensively all around. Kyle Lowry is also an absolute sniper. Fred VanVleet, you cannot forget about him either. And then they have the inside defensive presence in Serge Ibaka, man. So they're definitely going to be a very solid team, very tough out. I got the Toronto Raptors going 6-2 in the bubble. And at the number 1 overall seed, I don't think this is really a surprise. I have the Milwaukee Bucks going 7-1 in the bubble, finishing with a 60-13 overall record. I think the Bucks are going to be a very, very deadly team. Giannis Antetokounmpo is a generational talent. He's been working on his 3-ball. It's kind of a question as to how good he's going to be when they're coming back. He has been practicing a lot, at least according to him, so he should be a very solid player. At the time I'm recording this is only a day after the exhibition games have started, so keep that in mind. Giannis Antetokounmpo is an absolute monster. Can't forget about Chris Middleton either. I believe he's averaging about 21 points a game. Absolute sniper. Eric Bledsoe, also a great player, and they got great bigs in Brook and Robin Lopez inside. Definitely solid players in the post, so you cannot sleep on the Milwaukee Bucks. I got them going 7-1 in the bubble. Alright, you guys, so now we're going to be moving on to the Western Conference. As y'all could see in the East, I don't have any play-in with the Wizards going in. I think the Wizards are going to do very bad in the bubble. I have them only going 1-7 in their bubble games. So let's go ahead and move on to the West. At the 9 seed, I have the Memphis Grizzlies going 1-7 in the bubble with a 33-40 overall record. Why I think the Grizzlies are going to struggle so much is because at the end of the day, even though the Grizzlies were having a pretty solid season, I just don't think they'll be able to get over that hump. Ja Morant is an elite player. They also got great young talent in Jaren Jackson Jr. and Brandon Clark. But do I really think it's going to be enough to compete with the elite teams that are in the bubble? I don't think so. Also, the Grizzlies did not get a good draw in the bubble at all. They have a very strong record. A very strong schedule coming up. So it's definitely going to be tough for the Grizzlies, even though I do think they'll be able to hang on enough to get into a play-in tournament with the 8 seed I'm about to talk about. I have the Memphis Grizzlies going 1-7 in the bubble. At the 8 seed, I have the New Orleans Pelicans. Kind of a hot take. I actually have the Pelicans going 7-1 in the bubble with a 35-37 overall record finishing up. I'm assuming that Zion is going to be back in time. He has been testing for COVID every single day he's not been in the bubble, and they are planning on taking him back without quarantine because of that. So Zion Williamson, as y'all can see from the pictures, he's lost a lot of weight. He's going to be a freaking monster in the bubble. Also, Lonzo Ball, great facilitator, and then they got offensive weapons in JJ Redick and Drew Holiday. Also, Jahlil Okafor off the bench is going to be a solid big man inside. They're definitely going to be a very good team. Also, the Pelicans, unlike the Grizzlies, have a very easy bubble schedule. So I would not be surprised with the Pelicans going 7-1. Obviously, they played some of the bigger contenders. I think their record will be a lot worse. I don't think the Pelicans are one of the elite teams in the West. But they did get very lucky with their bubble schedule, which is why I have the New Orleans Pelicans going 7-1 in the bubble. At the 7 seed, I have the Dallas Mavericks going 5-3 in the bubble, finishing with a 45-30 regular season record. The Dallas Mavericks are a very good team, very slept on. Luka Doncic has been having an insane season, one of the greatest seasons we've ever seen for a sophomore. Also, Kristaps Porzingis breaking out as a solid presence for the Dallas Mavericks. It's like he never left, man. A great dynamic duo emerging in the West. They're going to be deadly. Also, can't forget about Tim Hardaway Jr., very solid player for them on the wing. They also got very good weapons in Seth Curry off the bench. They're going to be a very good team. Do not sleep on the Dallas Mavericks. I have them going 5-3 in the bubble. At the 6th seed, I have the Oklahoma City Thunder going 3-5 in the bubble, finishing with a regular season record of 43-27. Even though I think the Thunder are a pretty solid overall team with a great backcourt duo in Chris Paul and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I do not think they have enough weapons to be able to contend in the West consistently. Although I think they're going to have a couple wins, a mediocre 3-5 bubble record I think is still warranted, even though they're going to be a good team in the West. There's just so many elite teams that I think the Thunder are going to struggle, even though Chris Paul and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander are having a great season. Steven Adams will be a solid defensive presence for them inside, and Danilo Gallinari will be able to get them good buckets as well. Also, Dennis Schroeder off the bench, which is why I don't see them having a terrible record in the bubble, but I still have them going 3-5 in the bubble. At the 5 seed, I have the Utah Jazz finishing with a 4-4 record in the bubble with a 45-27 regular season record. Now, if the whole drama with Rudy Gobert didn't happen, I might have the Jazz going 5-3 or possibly 6-2, probably more 5-3, but I will assume that they're probably going to take 1 or 2 more losses than they should because of the messed up chemistry. Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, even though they say they're getting along, it's still kind of up in the air, and other players have made it public that they are not happy with Rudy Gobert right now. So it's definitely going to be interesting how the Jazz chemistry plays out. I am assuming that they have been practicing. I'm sure that the Jazz, at least talent-wise, are going to be just as good as they were when they left. But chemistry-wise, I just don't think it's going to be the same, which is why I have the Jazz finishing in the middle of the pack with a 4-4 record in the bubble. At the 4 seed in the West, I have the Houston Rockets with a 5-3 record in the bubble with a 45-27 regular season record. The reason why I have the Rockets playing this well is because I feel like Russell Westbrook and James Harden are honestly on a mission. I feel like the whole team is finally starting to mesh. They're going to be a very tough backcourt duo for anyone to guard. The only real weakness I see with the Houston Rockets is their height, obviously. They're going to be playing small ball. PJ Tucker, I believe, is only 6'5 or 6'6 playing center. It's going to be very rough for them defensively, especially against teams like Lakers, Clippers, Nuggets, Jazz, you name it. Any team with a solid big man in the West is going to expose them. So even though I have them finishing with a pretty good record because of James Harden and Russell Westbrook, I don't know if they'll be able to go that far, which is why I have the Houston Rockets going 5-3 in the bubble. At the 3 seed, I have the Denver Nuggets going 5-3 in the bubble as well, finishing with an overall record of 48-25. The Nuggets are definitely very good, as y'all might have saw from their exhibition against the Wizards yesterday. Bol looks like he could be a great talent off the bench. I'm assuming they're not going to start him because Jamal Murray, Will Barton, and Gary Harris all rested during that game, but they're going to be a very, very solid team. Nikola Jokic is going, hopefully, well, I don't know hopefully, but I think that Nikola Jokic could emerge as a superstar now that he's lost weight. He's definitely going to be a lot quicker on the defensive end, which will definitely be great. He might lose some of his strength, but honestly, I think he'll make up for it with the increase in speed. As y'all could have saw, he still has his great facilitating abilities. Also, Jamal Murray is a great offensive talent who will be able to get buckets for them. And if Bol plays the way he did against the Washington Wizards, he will be a very solid presence both offensively and defensively, whether he's on the bench or in the starting lineup. Don't sleep on the Denver Nuggets. I have them going 5-3 in the bubble. At the 2 seed in the West, I have the Los Angeles Clippers finishing with a bubble record of 7-1, going 51-21 in the regular season. The Clippers are good, man. They are so good. Kawhi Leonard is a generational talent, debatably the best two-way player in the league right now. Even though Paul George is not having a season that he is accustomed to, he's still averaging about 21 points per game. A very solid player. No matter what state Paul George is in, he is always a threat. Also, you cannot forget about Lou Williams. Patrick Beverley is going to be great on the defensive end for them. Also, Montrezl Harrell. They have spectacular depth. You could even make the argument that they have the best bench in the NBA right now. The Los Angeles Clippers are going to be very tough to beat, which is why I have them with a 7-1 record in the bubble. At the number 1 overall seed in the West, I have the Los Angeles Lakers with the only team going undefeated in the bubble at 8-0 with a 57-14 record. I think that the Los Angeles Lakers are going to be a very good team. LeBron James has been having an amazing season for how old he is. Anthony Davis also been playing the way he normally is. They have made some great pickups like J.R. Smith, who should be a great shooter for them. I'm assuming off the bench. Dion Waiters as well, great shooter. Even though they've lost Rajon Rondo and Avery Bradley, I still think they'll be able to figure it out. I think Caruso will be able to play some crucial minutes for them. JaVale McGee will also be solid, as well as Dwight Howard on the defensive end. They are just a perfect overall team. Danny Green, also a great shooter for them. They have a very solid bench and solid starting lineup, which is why I don't see them losing, at least in the regular season portion of the bubble. I have them going 8-0. All right, you guys, so now that I have my rankings for the Eastern and Western Conference, we're going to get into my playoff predictions. So we're going to start off with the first round of the Eastern Conference, the number 1 seeded Milwaukee Bucks against the 8 seeded Brooklyn Nets. I have the Milwaukee Bucks sweeping the Nets. I think this is pretty obvious. I think Giannis is going to absolutely dominate them. They won't be able to handle him at all, especially without their superstars. DeAndre Jordan would probably be the best hope they had of guarding him inside, maybe. And Jared Allen I don't think he's going to be able to do the job, even though he is a solid defender. Giannis is going to destroy them, and if he doesn't, Chris Middleton is going to light them up for 3, which is why I have the Bucks sweeping the Brooklyn Nets easily. And our second matchup, I have the 4-seeded Miami Heat against the 5-seeded Philadelphia 76ers. I have the Sixers taking out the Heat in 6 games, winning the series 4-2. The reason why I think this is because the Philadelphia 76ers are a very solid team. This will probably be the best matchup in the first round, at least in the Eastern Conference. The Miami Heat are also very good as well. It's going to be a battle, but I don't know if I don't know if the Heat are going to be able to handle Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons inside. They're just too good offensively, even though the Heat are a good team, which is why I have them winning 2 games. I just think the 76ers are going to be too much. I feel like they're going to click in the playoffs, as they always do, no matter how they play in the regular season, which is why I think the Philadelphia 76ers are going to defeat the Heat in 6 games. Our third matchup in the first round of the Eastern Conference, I have the 2-seeded Toronto Raptors versus the 7-seeded Orlando Magic. Of course, I have the Toronto Raptors sweeping the Orlando Magic because I just think they're not going to have an answer for all of the Raptors' weapons. They have great players in Pascal Siakam, Kyle Lowry, Norman Powell, Fred VanVleet, Marc Gasol, Serge Ibaka, you name it. The Toronto Raptors are just too deadly, and honestly, the only weapon I can think of off the top of my head for the Magic are Aaron Gordon and Nikola Vucevic. Of course, Evan Fournier is going to be a solid shooter for them, but besides that, I just don't think the Magic are going to have an answer for the Raptors defensively, which is why I think the Raptors are going to torch the Orlando Magic in 4 games. Our fourth and final matchup in the East, I have the 3-seeded Boston Celtics versus the 6-seeded Indiana Pacers. I have the Boston Celtics also sweeping the Indiana Pacers 4-0. Because I just think the Pacers are going to struggle in the bubble. They haven't played together in a long time. Assuming Victor Oladipo is going to be missing, they won't have any answer for Kemba Walker defensively. Maybe Malcolm Brogdon can do the best he can, but Kemba Walker is an offensive talent. Jason Tatum is also absolutely ridiculous, and Domantas Sabonis is going to be too slow to guard him. So they will have to put their small forward on him, and I just don't think he's going to do that well. The Boston Celtics are too good offensively. They have too good depth. They're too good defensively as well, which is why I think the Celtics will easily be able to dispatch the Pacers 4-0. Now, moving on to the Western Conference, we're going to be talking about the play-in series between the New Orleans Pelicans and the Memphis Grizzlies. Definitely should be interesting. Ja Morant versus Zion Williamson. I definitely will tune into that. But I think even though the Grizzlies are going to win a game before they get knocked out of the bubble officially, I think that the Pelicans are going to be able to win Game 2 in that play-in series to win. For those of y'all that don't know how the play-in works, pretty much the 9 seed would have to beat the 8 seed 2 times in a row. So even though I think the Memphis Grizzlies will win against the Pelicans once, I don't know if they'll be able to do it 2 in a row. The Pelicans are going to be a very good team. As I said when I was talking about the rankings, Lonzo Ball, great facilitator. Even though Ja Morant is a very athletic, very talented point guard, I think that Lonzo Ball plays some pretty solid defense. I don't think he'll be able to contain Ja, obviously, but I think he'll be able to do enough to where they'll have to work through their other players. I think Zion Williamson is too strong. I don't know if Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to be able to go to work on Zion like he's accustomed to doing. So I just think that the Pelicans are going to be able to come out and get into the first round, because the Pelicans will definitely be able to win at least 1 game against the Memphis Grizzlies, even though I think they'll get a little bit shocked by Ja Morant in that first game. I don't think they're going to lose twice in a row to the Memphis Grizzlies, which is why I have the Pelicans in the first round. Now, moving on to the official first round of the Western Conference, we have the 1-seeded Los Angeles Lakers against the 8-seeded New Orleans Pelicans. I have the Lakers easily dispatching them in 5 games, even though I think Zion might have a great breakout game. Also, cannot forget about Brandon Ingram. I don't even know why I haven't mentioned him in this video. Brandon Ingram is an absolute baller. You cannot forget about him. I think that Brandon Ingram and Zion will get their buckets at least once against the Lakers, get an upset. But besides that, I think the Lakers are going to be able to easily dispatch the Pelicans. Even though the Pelicans are a good team, solid core, they are still young, and the Lakers just have that experience with Anthony Davis and LeBron James both being very good seasoned veterans in the NBA. I think the Lakers are going to be able to easily dispatch the New Orleans Pelicans. In the second matchup in the first round, I have the 4-seeded Houston Rockets defeating the 5-seeded Utah Jazz in 6 games, even though I feel like the Jazz are going to be able to win 2 games because of their significant height advantage over the Houston Rockets with Rudy Gobert inside. I don't think it's going to be enough to beat the Rockets 4 times. James Harden is debatably the best pure scorer in the NBA right now. Russell Westbrook is an extremely athletic point guard, definitely going to be great. It's going to be a great matchup between him and Donovan Mitchell, but at the end of the day, I think the Houston Rockets are just too talented, and I think they're going to be able to win the series in 6 games. The third matchup in the West, I have the 2-seeded Los Angeles Clippers beating the 7-seeded Dallas Mavericks in 6 games. Even though I feel like the Mavericks will definitely put up a fight as Luka Doncic has emerged as one of the best players in the league, and Kristaps Porzingis is a great presence inside because of his height and his offensive ability. I think the Clippers are just too experienced in the playoffs with Paul George going to the Eastern Conference Finals twice, and Kawhi Leonard obviously being to the NBA Finals multiple times. I think they will easily be able to dispatch the young Dallas Mavericks in 6 games. The final matchup in the first round of the West, I have the 3-seeded Denver Nuggets defeating the 6-seeded Oklahoma City Thunder in 5 games, because even though I feel like the Thunder's solid core of overall players is going to be enough to win 1 game, I think the Denver Nuggets are just too good. Nikola Jokic, as good as he is offensively, he is a solid facilitator as well. He can definitely move the ball better than any big man we have seen in a very long time, if not ever. Jamal Murray is a great offensive player. I don't know how Chris Paul is going to be able to guard him because of how undersized he is. They're just going to be a very tough team for the Thunder to deal with, and I feel like the Nuggets are going to beat them easily in 5 games. Moving on to the second round of the Eastern Conference, I have the Milwaukee Bucks beating the Philadelphia 76ers in 7 games. Now, I feel like that could be a little bit controversial, but here's my reasoning. The Philadelphia 76ers are going to be good. I'm telling you that right now with their lineup changes. I'm telling you. Ben Simmons is a beast, man, already at the point guard. I feel like in the power forward, he's going to be even better in the flow of their offense. Joel Embiid can do everything. He can pick and pop, he can rebound, play defense, he can make the mid-range jumper, he can go to work inside. He's a great athletic player. The only question about Joel Embiid is his effort level. Sometimes it does feel like he's slacking off on the court, while on the other hand, Giannis is a killer. I feel like Giannis definitely has that Mamba mentality. He does not play games, and I feel like that's why if it comes down to a Game 7, Giannis, Chris Middleton, and the rest of the Milwaukee Bucks will not let the series slip through their fingers, which is why I have the Bucks beating the 76ers in 7 games. In our second matchup of the Eastern Conference second round, I have the Boston Celtics beating the Toronto Raptors in 6 games. Even though I think it's going to be a great series, they're going to be back and forth. Pascal Siakam and Jason Tatum are going to be absolutely dueling. I think when it comes down to it, even though they both have tons of weapons, I think the Celtics are just a better overall team, both defensively and offensively, even though it is a very slim margin, and I think the Raptors are going to do their thing. The Boston Celtics are just too good. Jason Tatum has been balling, and I think this is going to be his year, and he's going to be in his bag in the playoffs, which is why I have the Boston Celtics winning in 6 games. Moving on in the second round of the Western Conference, I have the Los Angeles Lakers dispatching the Houston Rockets in 5 games simply because of the Rockets' lack of height. Even though the Rockets have an amazing talent in James Harden as well as Russell Westbrook, the Lakers have a man known as Anthony Davis inside. And Anthony Davis is going to go to work. Best believe that Frank Vogel is going to expose their lack of height inside. Anthony Davis, that might be the best series of his career in the playoffs, because he's just going to exploit PJ Tucker for an entire series. LeBron James, obviously, is LeBron James. He's going to do what he does. I think even though James Harden will be enough to carry the Rockets to one win, I think the Lakers are still going to easily win that series in 5 games. Our next matchup in the second round of the West, I have the 2-seeded Clippers defeating the Nuggets in 7 games. Why I think the series is going to be so competitive is I think the Nuggets are going to be a lot better than we thought they were going to be. Based on their exhibition yesterday, I know it's too early to tell, but Jokic has lost weight. He's going to be a lot quicker defensively, which is definitely a big deal. Bol looks like he could break out with a great, although short, rookie season in the bubble, as well as Jamal Murray absolutely doing his thing. He will be a very solid player. They will be a good overall team, but the Los Angeles Clippers, like I said earlier, are too experienced with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Also, tons of depth. They're going to be a very hard team to beat, which is why I have the Clippers beating the Nuggets in 7 games. Moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals, I have the Milwaukee Bucks defeating the Boston Celtics in 6 games. Moving on to the NBA Finals. Although the Boston Celtics are a good team with Jason Tatum, Kemba Walker, Gordon Hayward, and plenty of others on their team, the Milwaukee Bucks are also a great overall team. And the Bucks have somebody that the Celtics don't. Giannis Antetokounmpo. I will preach it the whole video. Giannis is absolutely insane with how long and quick he is. He is practically unguardable. He's going to dominate inside, and when he doesn't dominate inside, they'll go to Chris Middleton, and he will snipe for them as well. Eric Bledsoe is also a solid offensive player, and he can facilitate well. Also, don't forget about Kyle Korver off the bench. He'll be able to get some buckets for them. Dante DiVincenzo as well. So the Bucks are just going to be too good to beat in the East. I think they will take home the Eastern Conference crown for the first time in a long time. And in moving on to the Western Conference Finals, I feel like this matchup was a no-brainer. The Los Angeles Lakers and the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, obviously, this matchup is very controversial. A lot of people are going to be mad no matter what I say, but I have the LA Lakers taking home the Western Conference crown for Los Angeles in 7 games. Although I think this is the most evenly matched matchup we could possibly have in any round, including the finals. I mean, they basically, both teams have everything. The only difference is I think that the Lakers duo is just a little bit better than the Clippers duo, and I think that's going to give them an edge, and I think that's going to give them just one extra game over the Clippers, which is why I have the Lakers winning in 7 games. Moving on to the NBA Finals, you guys, before I get in the matchup, I just want to let y'all know, if y'all are enjoying the video, make sure you smash that like button. Also, subscribe if you want to see more content similar to this, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss anything like this. Finally, the last matchup, the NBA Finals, the Los Angeles Lakers against the Milwaukee Bucks. I think it is going to be a very competitive series. Giannis Antetokounmpo and LeBron James both up for MVP. But I do think that the Lakers are going to be crowned the NBA champions of the 2019-2020 season. Reasons why: I feel like LeBron James is on a mission, and also Anthony Davis is very motivated. We cannot forget, Anthony Davis has never been past the second round in his career, and even when he did go to the second round, he got easily dispatched. I feel like they're a very motivated team. They haven't been in the playoffs in a long time. They're very hungry, and they're ready to make some noise, especially after their underwhelming season in 2018-2019. Which is why I think even though Giannis will be very hungry, and the Bucks will be just as hungry as the Lakers debatably, I think that LeBron James and Anthony Davis together, along with their extremely high playoff experience. Danny Green obviously has been to the NBA Finals before. LeBron James has been to the Finals several times. Anthony Davis, not that much playoff experience, but a superstar talent. I think they're going to be very good. And even though I think it's going to be a very competitive series, I have the Los Angeles Lakers winning in 7 games. So you guys, Thank you guys so much for watching. This was just my opinion. Do not forget that it is my opinion. Obviously, I know there's going to be some people that are fans of teams that are going to be pissed off about what I said or just flat out disagree with what I said. And I understand that. If you guys have a different opinion than me, I definitely want to know about it. Let me know in the comment section what you think is going to happen in the bubble. I had a lot of fun making this video. This is my first video about the real NBA. I usually make 2K videos or other video game related videos, but if you guys want to see more NBA videos like this in the bubble, make sure you guys smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, let me know in the comment section what else you want to see, and turn on the notification bell so when I post those new videos you don't miss them. I know this has been kind of a long video, but I really hope you guys enjoyed. I had a lot of fun making this video. I hope you guys had a lot of fun watching. Thank you guys for watching. I love you guys. This is Ethan, the My Team GM, signing off.
Rage on that beat, going crazy.